guess what? You are in worship as long as you are in that state and with that in that intention. And the Prophet ﷺ explained that. He said, if it's something you could be spending in haram, whether it's money or time, but instead you are spending in halal, then you will be rewarded for it. You will be rewarded for it. And that gives us to the last part of this, which is that idea or the concept of qiyas, analogy. And that's kind of more of a legal term. Analogy means to look at two things and kind of like reach a conclusion through like a reasoning process of measuring things against each other's. And some scholars said that qiyas is not acceptable, so he says this is the adapted opinion of most scholars, as only the Zahiris have disagreed with it. So we have a group of Muslims, or not a group of Muslims, it's a school of Islamic law called the Zahiri, led by and kind of founded by Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri, who just take things as their face value, and they don't see like, you don't really do any analogy or reasoning and see what the cause is behind things. So he said, Zahiri, no, he said there is no qiyas. But here, the scholars understood this idea of reasoning or analogy from this hadith. As for the reported censure of analogy from the followers of the prophetic companions and others after them, this does not relate to analogy as practiced by the expert jurist, which is reverse analogy, or qiyas al-aks. The legal theorists have different opinions about using it, and this prophetic saying is a proof for those who use it in the derivation of legal rulings. It's kind of more of like a technical thing here. The idea is that the Prophet ﷺ, when the people asked him, and that also gives us a proof that when someone is asking a religious authority or a mufti about something and then they actually don't understand, they are allowed to ask kind of like for further clarification or a follow-up question, and then the person who's giving the answer also are allowed to elaborate a little bit more on the dalil sometimes, not all the time. When you go ask a mufti and you say, please, I have a question, what is the case or the ruling regarding XYZ, and they give you the answer and they say that's halal, that's haram, that's possible, that's permissible, that's impermissible, it is not your job to say, give me your opinion, give me the proof, convince me. If you know the proof, if you are going to be convinced and you know the proof, why are you asking? You could have been your own mufti. You could have been your own a religious authority that answers the question. Don't do that when you ask for a mufti's opinion. When you ask for a mufti's opinion, you are signing up to trust their opinion. If they make the right answer, Allah will reward them. If they make the wrong answer, Allah will reward them for what? For trying their very best. And at the end of the day, you have no sin over you, for you, if you ask someone and they give you an opinion and they were wrong. Just I hope that this is clear. I hope this is clear. And then finally we see how this hadith, in addition to teaching us, broadening the concept of sadaqah, broadening the concept of ibadah and worship, and the importance of intention, and how the importance of satr, it also gives us something also, see deeply as legal as the idea of qiyas and analogy, because analogy allows for the religion to expand. If we only take a hadith, if we only take the texts and the scripture at its face value without ability to do any analogy, then religion will not have the flexibility to cover many aspects of life. جزاكم الله خير, بارك الله فيكم, والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم. I'll see you all inshallah next week.